Okay, so like, have you ever looked at your dating history and thought, wow, I'm consistently terrible at choosing people? It's kind of wild how you can date three different people in a row and somehow they're all just the same person wearing slightly different outfits. And every time you're like, no, no, this one is different. And your brain's like, yeah, totally like different, same emotional damage, but they read a different book once. And people love to call that taste. Like you've got some sophisticated emotional palate. Yes, I prefer partners who ignore me just right. But here's the thing, you're not choosing people based on compatibility, you're choosing them based on familiarity. That's why it feels like you're stuck in a sequel you didn't agree to. Same plot, new cast, worse reviews, because what you think is chemistry is usually just your brain recognizing an old emotional wound and going, oh, hey, I know this one. Okay, so like, let's break down what's actually happening when you feel drawn to someone. Because the way people talk about attraction, it's all vibes and poetry. The way your brain handles attraction, it's basically running Windows XP. And the first thing your brain cares about is predictability, not romance, not compatibility. Just, can I predict what this person will do based on patterns I already know? Your brain is obsessed with prediction because prediction equals survival. So if someone's behavior feels even vaguely familiar, your brain's like, perfect, I know this level, I've died here before. And then people confuse that with destiny. They're like, we had an instant connection. Meanwhile, your nervous system is just going, yep, I've met this emotional chaos before. And then there's the really messed up mechanism, misattribution of arousal, which is just a fancy way of saying your body can't tell the difference between anxiety and attraction. So someone makes you a little nervous, your heart rate spikes, your palms sweat, your brain's like, a soulmate, clearly you're not in love. You're having a stress response with good marketing. Wait, that explains the whole I only like people who keep me slightly on edge thing. You're literally confusing adrenaline for compatibility. And then, because your brain is committed to the bit, your attachment system kicks in, not to help, no, just to activate like a faulty smoke alarm. Your attachment system activates when someone feels emotionally familiar, but people mistake that activation for a sign. It's not a sign, it's just your nervous system whispering, ah, yes, chaos, I remember this. And here's what's wild, the person who activates your attachment system the fastest is usually the person you're the least compatible with. That's just brain logic. We got the how, now it's time for the why. Because your type didn't magically appear the day you downloaded your first dating app. You didn't wake up one morning and go, you know what I'm into? Inconsistency. Your brain built your type way earlier, like embarrassingly early, way before you had object permanence early. It all starts with emotional templates. Whoever taught you what love felt like, not what it was, but what it felt like, became the blueprint. Warm, cold, unpredictable, distant but kind. Your system goes, oh, that's love, lock it in. Wait, that means your type isn't about preference, it's about familiarity to your earliest emotional climate. Huh. And then comes the really cursed psychological mechanism, repetition compulsion, which is just your brain trying to replay an old emotional scenario like it's speedrunning your childhood. You're not looking for a partner, you're looking for a redo. Your brain thinks, if I can recreate the original wound and fix it this time, maybe the old one will stop hurting. That has never worked ever. So when someone feels instantly intense or familiar, it's not chemistry. It's your brain going, oh, this one activates the storyline we couldn't finish. And then, because your brain loves drama, it does this thing called fantasy completion. You don't fall for the person. You fall for the fantasy of how being with them could finally resolve something old. Except they're not a healing opportunity, they're just a person, usually the wrong one. And here's the weirdest part. Even when people think they're escaping their childhood patterns by choosing the opposite, it's still the same pattern. If you date someone overly stable to avoid the instability you grew up in, your childhood is still choosing, just in reverse. You're not free of the pattern because you've just switched difficulty mode. So, like, here's where things get kind of uncomfortable Because at some point you realize you're not actually attracted to people. You're attracted to the meaning your brain assigns to the feeling you get around them. And your brain is terrible at labeling feelings. It mixes up anxiety with excitement, predictability with safety, familiarity with love. It's like a DJ with no headphones, just guessing. For example, when someone makes your heart race, people go, "Oh my God, butterflies." No, butterflies are just your body going, is this danger? Is this attraction? Who knows? Same chemicals. And then there's the illusion of emotional echoes. This is where someone doesn't feel good. They feel known. They trigger an emotional pattern you felt before, and your brain goes, yep, this is powerful. This must matter. Wait, that means half of what people think is deep connection is just their brain recognizing an emotional echo from the past. And the craziest part, your identity joins the party. Because deep down, everyone carries some story about themselves like, I'm hard to love, I have to earn affection. People always leave. So you end up choosing people who confirm that story, not because it's good, but because it feels true. And that's where the meaning-making glitch comes in. Humans cannot experience an intense emotion without trying to give it a purpose. If something hits hard, the brain goes, ah, intensity, must be destiny. Even though intensity is just your nervous system overreacting again. So, like, maybe love isn't this magical force pointing you to the right person. Maybe it's your brain pointing you to the same pattern, like, and hoping you'll finally notice the illusion this time. Here's the part where everything kind of loops back around. Because once you actually see the machinery behind who you're drawn to, the prediction stuff, the emotional echoes, the attachment alarms, the unfinished stories, you realize something kind of freeing. You're not cursed, you're not broken, you're not destined to keep choosing the same person in different fonts. You were just choosing on autopilot. Patterns were choosing for you. History was choosing for you. Your nervous system was choosing for you. And like, that's not your fault. Your brain wasn't trying to ruin your life. It was just trying to make sense of it using the only templates it had. But once you see the pattern, once you can actually say, oh, this isn't love, this is repetition, your brain can't unsee it. And that's the moment the pattern starts to break. Not because everything magically changes, but because you change. You stop chasing intensity. You stop romanticizing tension. You stop confusing activation with compatibility. You don't need to fix your past to choose differently. You just need to recognize when your past is trying to choose for you. So yeah, love gets a lot less confusing when you realize, half of it is just your brain trying to rerun an old story. And you don't have to follow the script this time. That's just wild, right?